Imagine walking out into the backyard, looking up at the moon, and thinking that the heavy glass sitting on your camera body just isn't cutting it anymore. That is usually the exact moment someone starts looking down the rabbit hole of astrophotography. Enter this all-metal adapter from Celestron, a surprisingly hefty little piece of machined hardware built specifically to bridge the gap between a DSLR and a Schmidt-Cassegrain telescope. Picking it up, there is zero flex or cheap plastic feeling. It is cold, solid metal that feels reassuringly heavy in the palm, weighing in at just under 4 ounces. Getting it mounted takes a bit of choreography. First, the camera lens has to come off, replaced by a separate tiering matched to the specific camera brand. Then, the telescope's visual back and diagonal get unscrewed to expose the rear cell threads. Screwing this tube directly onto the telescope is straightforward, though threading it on in the dark can test anybody's patience the first few times. Once everything is locked together, the telescope effectively transforms into a gargantuan telephoto lens. Anyone stepping up from a standard 300mm camera lens is going to experience a massive leap in focal length. Slapping this setup onto an 8-inch telescope pushes the reach out to 2,000 millimeters, pulling distant craters on the moon right into the frame with startling detail. Daylight terrestrial viewing works brilliantly too, especially for catching distant wildlife without disturbing them. Now, there are limitations worth keeping in mind. Because prime focus photography relies entirely on the telescope's native focal length, exposure times for deep sky nebulae can get tricky without a proper equatorial mount or a secondary guidescope to keep things steady. It is not an all-in-one magic fix for stunning nebula shots right out of the box, but rather a fundamental building block. For anyone wanting to move past basic tripod shots and start using a telescope as pure glass for a camera, this rugged adapter gets the job done without overcomplicating things.
Check out the video description for updated price. And thank you for watching this video.